It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
We out here doing what we do. Cats Talk Wednesday, every single Wednesday. Terry Brown, TCB, still from way hotter than he like our.
Yep,
Fall is not here yet, but
not yet.
uh. We'll try to have a fun show. Got the football jersey on, so hopefully Kentucky can take that down to Columbia bye week against Shane Beamer. And no struggling South Carolina Gamecocks. Both teams need a win, and we'll see what happens Saturday night, 10 something your time, 11 something my time, when it's all said and done down there.
Yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah, we shall see. We got a guest, excited guest, hoping to join us. Legacy broadcaster Dave Neal. Hopefully, should hop on here in a few minutes. And he's called many a game from many a league across many a sport. Son of Bob Neal, and so we'll get to hopefully chop it up, talk a little ball with Dave here in a few minutes. So coming live on the Cats Talk Wednesday Twitter and Facebook and YouTube pages. So follow, subscribe, like, listen on Spotify. Give us a little 5-star rating. Help us be accessible to more people, courtesy of the BS3 Network. So we definitely would appreciate that. TB, man, your Niners are treading water. You're 3-0. We got that going. We got Kentucky football going. Basketball practice going. We got this all. It's about that time of year where everything's going now, man.
Yeah, the men's soccer team, Kentucky Louisville, split,
Yeah.
tied 2-2. I know Kentucky was up 2-1 deep into the game, but Louisville got the equalizer. But right after our last show, the volleyball teams played, and the Kentucky team was victorious in 5 sets. So
Yeah.
looking good there. We're getting little snippets of the men's basketball team. Practices coming out, so that's got folks salivating. We're getting start times for the big non-conference matchups. Early game against St. John's. I think we're the early Champions Classic game against Michigan State. So shades of Tyrese Maxey from a few years ago, hopefully. So I'm excited. It's a great time, and of course with football and everything rolling, it's always a great time to be a Wildcat.
That's it. Hey, I think you might got a little soft again. I don't know if it's a little far off. I don't
Okay.
know. There
All
you
right.
go.
Well, I'll try to
Yeah.
adjust. I might have to go probably through my computer. I've been using my phone, but I'll try that here in
Uh,
just a second.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, all the clips coming out. Practice. Hey, it's just practice. It's just going at each other. But Malachi Marino baptized our boy BG, and that was pretty filthy. I know it's just practice, but that's a true freshman, and hey, that's
Iron sharpens iron, and when you hear some of the best Kentucky teams talk, they really talk about how bad, or not how bad, but how tough and grueling the practices were, where the games got easy, right? We've talked to a lot of the guys from the 96 team that talked about that, just how grueling it was in the practices. So the games were really, really easy because you were going against all American caliber people, NBA dudes in practice. And so
yeah.
uh, I'm hoping that this year's team, the same kind of thing, another deep tournament run, another SEC championship or two, and kind of restore order to the SEC. So that's what I'm excited about. Seeing clips of Coach Brooks's women's team.
Yeah.
We talked to Claire Strack last week about what they're going to build on for next year. So, like I said, it's always a good time to be a Wildcat. Sydney McLaughlin of Rome is out here setting her own records. I love it because, of course, Kentucky fans are excited when she does something. But when you see like regular track people talk about, she may be the best sprinter we've ever produced in America.
Oh,
And That's why I tweeted out that if you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of Kentucky athletes, she's got to be on there, right? Like, I mean, her resume is already as good as anybody that's put on blue and white, no matter the sport.
No.
You know, she showed up with some national records in hand, got better at Kentucky. And since then, she's won Olympic gold and world championships, and she's setting world records. She's closing in on the world record in the 400 that was set by an East German back when they was shooting them up with whatever they give horses. So we kind of, that's the world record, wink, wink. But it's always crazy because she looks like she's jogging.
Yeah.
At the end of the 400, it always looks like she's jogging, and it's like she set the American record on a wet track.
Oh, exactly. Wet track. I mean, it was.
And so again, I know that women's track doesn't get the pub that some of the other sports do, but keep in mind the best finish outside of volleyball for a team sport in Kentucky in the last decade was 2015 when the women's track team finished number 2. Remember, in the Directors' Cup standings, the women's track team got more points than the 38-1
Final
men's
four.
basketball team.
Absolutely.
They made the Final Four, and women's track made the Final 2.
Yep.
So I know that doesn't get people sizzling, like, you know, the basketball stuff, the football stuff, but, you know, like we keep saying, it's all cats everything. As I gestured all my posters here, like it's all cats everything, man. And Sid is going to be an all-time great.
No doubt.
She's going to be up there with FloJo and all those Jackie Joyner Kersey. Like, she's going to be up there.
Sure.
When it comes to American women track stars.
And with the Hall of Fame induction, we always talk about all those from the quote non-major sports. They work just as hard as, you know, your Josh Allens, your Randall Cobbs, your Jody Meach, your Tayshaun Princes, and things of that nature. And that was, you know, Sonia Hahn and, you know, Abby Cheek and all those who went in with Tayshaun and Randall Cobb. Speaking of hard working, our guest is backstage. He is an Emmy winner. You hear him on ESPN, SEC Network, legendary broadcaster. He's won Emmys, as we just mentioned. And he's kind enough to join us tonight. You can follow him on Twitter at Dave Neal Sports. We are joined by Mr. Dave Neal. Dave, appreciate you joining us. How you doing, sir?
Hey, glad to be a part of the show. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, we glad to have you and talk ball with you. I was looking at us up on Spotify. Had your dad on here 10 years ago, May of 2015. Your dad was kind enough to hop on here and talk a little ball.
10 years. Yeah, he just lives down the road from me here. I live in Atlanta, and obviously he lives here too. I grew up here, and he's still down the road and just retired, enjoying life. And he had a nice little run doing sports television over the years. So it was great to learn from one of the best.
So on that note, you know, if we've seen the clip of Peyton Manning, they say, you know, who's your favorite player? He goes, my dad. Who was your favorite broadcaster? Was it your dad or was it somebody else?
Well, I'll say this, that I had learned more from my dad than anybody that I've watched or anything like that. I mean, just literally you grow up in the house and you watch a guy prepare like he prepared for whatever the sport, whether it was Olympic type sports, doing the old Turner when they created the Goodwill Games or the World Cup, or doing baseball in Cuba, football, basketball, all that stuff. And you know, there's no better teacher than to just sit around and watch somebody perform and do the work behind the scenes. So in that regard, there is nobody even close in terms of who prepared me the most. But, you know, I'm like everybody else. I have my fans, right? I mean, I'm a fan of certain announcers. Like, you know, Al Michaels to me is one of the greatest voices. And I know he's at the down part of his career, but I still, when you hear his voice on a game, it's like, you know, it's a big deal. You know, another guy that I don't think gets, I still don't know why people bust his chops like they do, but Joe Buck, man, I think Joe Buck does a great job, but people bust his chops all the time.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I think he does great. He's got a sense of humor, and I guess maybe some people don't like that during the games. I don't know, but he's another guy that I've always kind of, he's not much older than I am, but I've always kind of admired the work that he does as well. I mean, there's all kinds of people out there that you just enjoy listening to. So, but no, my dad certainly is the top of the list.
Yeah, and look, I think, man, he won me over. First of all, I was a Hawks fan until they traded Dominique to the Clippers, and then I just had to quit him after that. But the line after the 88 dunk contest, they gave Jordan a 50. They gave him a 50 because Mike didn't earn that. He's Mike and all that, but he was in Chicago and we.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My dad grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was, the Bulls, he was a White Sox guy, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm with you on that. They gave him a 50. I remember those. Like I said 3 times, I think. They gave him a 50. They gave him a 50. One of the great dunk contests that there's ever been. And it was certainly it was at that time, it was the first time that dunk contest with he and Neek just kind of took over the All-Star weekend. But that was a great run. You mentioned Dominique getting traded. I got a little quick story about that. I was doing the Hawks pregame, postgame shows at the time and doing sideline stuff for the Hawks. When Dominique got traded, the day that it was announced that he wasn't going to play that night, I forget who the Hawks were even playing, but I was on the sidelines. I went up into the stands at the old Omni, and I damn near got fired because I went into the stands and getting people's opinions about Dominique being traded. And everybody was killing the management about trading. How do you trade Dominique? What are you doing? We're getting Danny Manning out of the deal. And people are like, Danny Manning, he limps around, like Danny blew out his knee and never got right. If you remember that. Danny was a great player, but he wasn't Dominique. And so I went around and people are like killing Stan Kasten. And I think Pete Babcock was the general manager at the time. And after the game, man, my boss called me and it's like, don't you ever do that again. I was like, all right, sorry. But I mean, I'm an Atlanta guy too. I was pissed.
Yeah.
I just didn't say it. I let somebody else say it for me.
And look, there wasn't social media back then. There was no place for people. If they literally expected to do that deal with no backlash, that shows, how under a rock they really were.
Yeah, well, obviously that didn't really pan out the way they thought it was going to pan out, that trade.
Danny was a rental, and quote, like you mentioned, they were getting younger and less athletic with Danny.
Yeah.
And they were the look, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. They went on to be the number 1 seed in the East, won 57 games. Let Dominique finish that year out. He's been there his whole career. If you flame out and don't make it to the finals, fine. Part ways after that, but he deserved to at least go to the playoffs with that team.
No doubt. No, and that's what everybody was saying, man. Like you don't do that to this guy. You don't do that to the guy that's been a foundation of your team for the last 13 years.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
They beat Seattle in the regular season that year. They were the best team in the West. And I'm like, everybody was getting excited. And and then, you get Danny and you barely get out of the first round, then you lose in the second round. So,
yeah. And then if I'm not mistaken, they took a little bit of a dive for a couple of years before they revamped that roster. Got Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, some of those guys. Before Dikembe, I think it was a few years later on, we got Dikembe and things kind of turned around a little bit. Had a nice little run there under Lenny Wilkins. But yeah, that's you're hitting my heart, man. I did that for like 8 years, man. I love the Hawks, love the Braves. They're my teams. I'm gonna even say this. I love the Falcons, as painful as they have been in my lifetime.
Okay.
I still love them. They're my team. But I don't wear their hat very often because I'm just frustrated. I'm not going to give them that until they start winning some ball games.
I understand. And got family in Atlanta. That's the only one I didn't get on board with. My dad was a Cowboys fan from, Bullet Bob Hayes. And I went that route with him, but I was Atlanta and everything else until they traded Neek. And then Olajuwon, my second favorite player behind Neek. So I jumped.
The Rockets?
Yeah, I never jumped, but that was so egregious. I had to jump ship on Atlanta when they.
Yeah. So did you join the Rockets fan club? Right? Was that? I'm trying to figure out the time frame of when they won their back-to-back championships. Was that right about that time?
Right before 94, 95, they went back to back. So I just slid in and rode that wave.
Yeah, that a boy, Vinny.
Been there ever since. So had to do it, man. You mentioned Joe Book, and there's probably guys that I can't even remember or don't even know about, as far as the legacy guys, sons of broadcasters, Jack Buck, Joe Buck, Harry, Skip, Chip, Marvin,
Brenneman.
Kenny, Albert.
You
Yeah, the
got
Brennans.
Brenneman.
Yeah. Ernie and EJ, Ernie Johnson, EJ, Will McDonough, Sean McDonough. Looking this up, I didn't even know Kevin Harlan's dad, Bob, was a broadcaster. I had no idea. I learned that looking this up. I was like, oh, wow.
Well,
Woody,
that was way before us, man. Let me
okay.
just say,
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Woody Durham and West Durham doing ACC stuff for years. Ian and Noah Eagle. So is it, when you get together with these guys, is it kind of like a little community, a little fraternity of, hey, we're all, our dads did this and we're doing it too when you see these guys?
It's funny you say that. The answer to that is kind of like, I grew up, my dad and Skip Carey were really good friends. And so I've known Chip since I was 6 years old, right? And so Chip and I kind of have that. Our fathers were friends. So we kind of were friends, even though he's a little bit older than I am. So yeah, he and I can tell some stories and talk back and forth. Tom Brenneman and I have gotten to know each other over the years. So he and I kind of catch up a little bit, and just through because of our past in the business, we talk a little bit, but really it's hard for us, the guys that do play-by-play stuff. We're hardly ever in the same place ever, because if we're in the same place, one of us probably isn't working. So it's rare that you really get you can become friends in that regard with the people, other people in the industry. ESPN flies right before college football season. They fly up all their announcers, play-by-play, color analysts to Bristol and have a 2-day seminar, talk about, expectations, goals, rules, all kinds of stuff. But that's the only time during the year that we get to see these people. And so it's a big 2 days. We all sit around and catch up, converse, tell, some war stories and bitch about certain things. And, as most people would do, but that's really the only time that I get to see other announcers throughout the year.
Yeah. Cause that, like you said, schedules just don't jive for sure.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be the one not working when,
Now I will say this, Vinny, I do see a lot of the radio guys, like Tom Leach guys, neck of the woods, great dude. I love catching up with him on the road. And so a lot of the school radio guys are who I'm more friendly with than the other guys that do what I do on television. I just see him more, and Tom's been doing it forever. I'm just using Tom as an example, but there's a lot of guys that have been doing it forever that I've been seeing in between football, basketball, and baseball. I see many of them 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year.
Yeah.
So those are kind of more of my friends in the business.
And like Tom's been here forever. You mentioned the Brennemans in Kentucky. Most of Kentucky is Reds country, so Marty and Tom, and those are the voices of Reds fans in Kentucky for sure. What was your first ever play-by-play call? Like my wife would live outside of Knoxville. She went to school with Neil Price.
Yeah.
So Neil was doing games like while he was still in high school. He's in the press box calling games and stuff like that. Were you doing that in school? When was the first time you ever tried play-by-play?
The very first time I ever tried it, I was like 12 years old in a living room calling the Orange Bowl game. And I don't even remember. It would have been in the 70s. It was Oklahoma playing somebody. I vaguely remember the Orange Bowl. And I had a little audio tape recorder sitting in my living room calling a football game. My mom's got the cassette somewhere. She's tried to look for it. She knows she has it. That would have been like 1977, 78, something like that. Now, I don't know if that really counts. The first time I did something like on television, I was at Florida State, where I went to college, and I was still in school, and there was a local access channel that wanted to do like a high school game of the week. And somehow I found out about it, and they said, sure, come do it. It was like 2 cameras. I mean, it was just there was hardly anything. We had one little monitor. The audio wasn't very good, but that was the first time I ever did anything. And it was a great experience. I mean, it was awful television. I was awful. The whole thing was awful, but it was an unbelievable experience that you just can't duplicate. You got until you sit in that chair. And and I worked local television in Tallahassee when I got out of school, and I was doing some stuff there, some minor, again, high school type stuff. And then when I left Atlanta, I came to, at the time, it was called Sports South Network, a Turner company in the early 90s. And they sent me out to go do the first real like television production with 6 cameras and was a Valdosta State, North Alabama football game in Huntsville, Alabama. And I was, again, horrible. My brother was the spotter. And I knew it was going to be trouble. Like 20 minutes before the game, a dang hurricane just about blew right through the stadium. Took my boards. Remember, this is like the first football game I've ever done. Took my boards, blew them out into the stand in a pouring down rain. My brother, God bless him, ran down the steps, got him, came back, everything smeared. Then he puts his binoculars up on the opening kickoff, and the lens on one of the binocular things goes flying out so now he can't even see. My boards are soaking wet. This is how my career starts. But you know what? Let me tell you, what? I still have, Vinny. I'm going to grab this. I still have it. This, and it's still it's still okay, but it's all messed up because it got wet. But this is my original, very first boards.
Wow.
My very first football game right here.
Man.
Valdosta State and North Alabama.
Wow. Hey,
Chris Hatcher, who was the coach of Samford, the head football coach at Samford, was the quarterback of Valdosta State.
Oh, man.
Hal Mummy was the head coach at Valdosta State.
Wow. Okay.
And Chris Hatcher still runs the Hal Mummy offense.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And Mike Leach was his offensive coordinator.
Yes. And my co-host, Terry Brown, he's having technical difficulties. He's trying to jump back on, but he's married and his wife is from Iowa. So he lives out in Iowa, and they're not far from the little college, I think Iowa Wesleyan, where Mike and Hal and all really got all that going.
Created their thing. Yeah. How about that small world?
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the way you describe that with your brother going to get, everything that's going around in the field, like the only thing missing was like yakety sack. Sounds like.
Oh yeah, it was a disaster. And one other story about that, just to make it, Chris Hatcher love the guy. He was great. So I've known him. He's been in the coaching world for a long time, and I actually did a Samford, Mississippi State football game 5, 6, 7 years ago or something, and he was coaching, and he knew that I told him that I had done the game, that particular North Alabama Valdosta State game back in 1993, I think it was. And so when I saw him on the field before the game 5 or 6 years ago, he gave me, his dad had a VHS copy of that game because it was on TV, and North Alabama and Valdosta State are never on TV. So that was like the first time they were on TV. And so he gave me a damn copy of the game. I haven't watched it because I know how bad it was. I don't want to watch it. Dude, I have it, but I don't want to watch it.
You just can't bring yourself to pop it in. Well, convert it over to, streaming some kind of way and just put it on your laptop.
Oh my gosh.
I would say DVD, but that's not even a thing anymore.
No,
but,
that's true. That's right. Does anybody use DVDs? I don't even know.
No, I don't think so. How quickly stuff changes. Oh man. So what's your favorite sport to call? Because you've called everything.
It's it's kind of a tricky question because I'm a seasonal guy. Like at the beginning of football season through the September, October, man, I am all geeked up for football. Like all summer, all I'm thinking about is football. I can't wait to get back. SEC football, these stadiums, 100,000 people. It's like you get all fired up. Like I got Tennessee, Mississippi State this weekend.
Okay.
I mean, I can't wait to get there. Those people are going to be crazy. But then we get to November, and now I'm reading about all the basketball starting. Games are like start November 3rd or 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm all jacked about getting ready for basketball season. So I do that for a couple months, and then we get to the first of the year, and college baseball teams start their fall or their preseason practice. Mm-hmm. And I love the baseball coaches. They are just wonderful. 90% of them are just wonderful human beings. Love being around them. So then I get all fired up about college baseball. But if you ask me to pick one, I would pick football. I mean, it's just look, growing up in the South, Vinny, I mean, SEC stuff, that's what I get to do. You'd be a crazy to say that wouldn't light your candle. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned that you're going to Starkville this weekend, and I was wondering where you were going to be because I couldn't help but ask if you're going to be in Oxford for Ole Miss LSU. How would you work in the Landry Kiffin weeks?
Oh my gosh. I mean, can you believe that comes out the week of the game? Like when I still haven't like dived into that. I've got my own issues going on, getting ready for my game, but I'm like, how does that not come out before this week? You know what I'm saying? Like why have people been sitting on that?
Yeah.
I can't think I don't think they just met. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
But I mean, what a storyline for that game now. That's nuts.
So whoever's got that, I mean, you
gotta mention it. You gotta mention it. You gotta mention it, right? It's become the story of the week about that game. So you'd be foolish not to somehow weave that in without being offensive to anybody. But you can't not acknowledge it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, how's Lane gonna attack his future son-in-law? Because he's too aggressive and over pursues or whatever.
And he's had to know. Listen, there's no way he doesn't know that that's been going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he doesn't know.
These coaches live in a bubble, and that's football is their life. And he's just inside the facility all this time. Come on now.
I gotta think Witt's been over to Oxford a time or two. I'm just saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
He was the focus of that Any Given Saturday too. He was featured so much in that Netflix.
Yeah, man. Which I thought was great. I thought that was great. It was a nice look. So I wish they'd have spent a little bit more time behind the scenes, but that was a great series. And I understand they're doing it again next year. So right before the season next year. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And for our perspective, every time Kentucky did show up, we were getting blown out. So it was bad. It was a bad little mention every time. Because South Carolina, we were featured, got blown out. Louisville game, they did Max Harrison. So when you go 4-8,
unfortunately, I was on that Louisville game.
Yeah, that's when you go 4-8 and in the doc, you're not going to have a lot of highlights.
They massaged that pretty well, Vinny. They didn't skewer Kentucky too badly in that show. You know what I mean? They didn't just hammer them about this is a miserable season and stuff like that.
Because they glossed it a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. They might not get access if they did. So you got to always worry about that part of it.
That's true too. That is true too. Look, we all know it. It's a dubious moment, but we know you were on the mic for the Bluegrass Miracle, which is another low light for us. So what was that like for you, man? Because my dad was there, and him, like everybody else, he had his leg on the rail fixing to storm the field, and he just put his leg down and just dejectedly walked out of then Commonwealth Stadium. So you seen it unfold on the mic. Guy Mo already has Gatorade on him. I mean,
it was Vinny. It still is. I mean, when was that? That was 20 something years ago. 2003 or 4. I can't remember the year, but I mean, it's over 20 years ago that thing has happened. And I remember it like it was yesterday. There aren't many games that I remember that well. As a matter of fact, I did a thing this summer. I have no idea when it's coming out, but the people that do the 30 for 30 stuff, they're putting together a double show on the Kentucky comeback at LSU in basketball. Okay. I forget what we call that when they were down 30 and came back to win or whatever it was. And the Bluegrass Miracle.
The Mardi Gras Miracle, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to do – Brad Nessler called that basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the football. So they had us sit down and do some – they interviewed a bunch of people. We were just 2 of them. But anyway, that's sometime soon that show is coming out. Reflecting back on those 2 things. And they were asking me all these questions, man. And I was just like, yeah, I remember this. Da, da, da. But honestly, those are the moments as an announcer that you just dream of. I mean, like, because you don't ever know when it's going to happen. Yeah. You certainly didn't expect it. It was one of the most remarkable things, just the whole way it's set up, the way, I mean, I was even excited for Kentucky because he felt like this was a turning point. Lorenzen was such a great story, a great guy to deal with. It's hard not to root for him. Saban, at that time he was angry Nick over there on the other sideline. Had a hell of a staff over there at LSU.
Yeah.
Bo Fisher and Will Muschamp over there. I mean, he had some unbelievable coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Kentucky and Guy Morris, this good old country boy who I would not want to be in a dark alley with Guy Morris. I know that.
Yeah.
And they dump the Gatorade. They're jumping up and down. The fans are right there, as you said, getting ready. And the pass, I see it. The pass is in the air and working, going to my left. And I look back to my right, and there are people already on the goalpost as Devery Henderson is crossing the goal line. And then they're piling on him. And people are dancing down here in this other end zone, have no idea that Kentucky lost.
Yeah.
It's just one of those moments, man, that you just don't forget. I remember walking out of the stadium. It was deathly quiet. And some guy, cannot repeat what came out of his mouth, but some guy screamed at the top of his lungs. I can't repeat it, but it was like, it just encompassed the entire mood of that parking lot behind the stadium. It was because I feel like they were the same way. Like, that could have been a turning point for Kentucky football. That really could have been a turning point. There was a good football team.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to bounce back from that. But yeah, amazing day of football.
Yeah, for sure. So growing up in Atlanta, what was the scouting report on Dave Neal? Were you a basketball player, a baseball guy, a golfer, football? What was your favorite sport?
It makes me laugh because my dad was football, basketball, baseball, man. He coached me and did all, and I was playing all those sports. And then we moved into a neighborhood where none of the people that were my age played those sports. They all played soccer.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know what, I was in 8th grade. And so if I wanted to hang out with these guys, I had to start playing soccer. And they were on a really good team. And they were really good. That's all they did. And they needed a goalie. Well, then everybody in the neighborhood could catch. But since I played football, basketball, baseball, they were like, Dave, why don't you be our goalie? Well, I ended up being pretty good at it. So I stayed and I played high school soccer. My dad was so mad at me, Vinny, for giving up those sports. He had one of my Little League football coaches pick me up. This guy was like right out of the mafia, right? His name was Marvin Silverman. Had one of those long Cadillacs. I remember with Cadillac DeVille or whatever. I don't even know what they called them back then, but you could put like 10 bodies in the trunk. That's how, you remember those?
Yeah.
He came and picked me up and drove me around Atlanta for an hour trying to convince me that I shouldn't give up football. Wow. And I was like, I mean, listen, if I wanted to hang out with the kids in my neighborhood, I had to play soccer. And I was like, I'm sorry, coach, I'm playing soccer. And it took me, I got a couple years of soccer in college. So, I mean, it worked out okay. But yeah, man, I grew up a huge baseball fan. I love baseball. Listen, I'm 5'9", I can't jump. So basketball was not going to be something I was going to do beyond middle school.
Yeah.
And again, I'm 5'9". I weighed about 140 pounds. I'm not going to be doing much in football either. So baseball was my thing. I loved it. That's the only thing I regret is giving up baseball. My youngest son plays in college and I love it. I get, he doesn't let me pitch BP anymore, but up until a few years ago, that's how I got my baseball fix, man. I'd hit him infield grounders and pitch him BP, all that stuff. And it was awesome. And so, so that's my story, man. My dad's probably still angry at me for giving up the sports, but it was my choice, not his, right?
That's it. That's it.
Right.
And back then, how old were you when your dad and our buddy Terry Hansen did the Atlanta soccer team?
Oh, that was the time. That was the era. And the reason that he did it, he didn't know squat about soccer. Nothing, man. And because I played, he wanted to get involved. And Terry's like, Bob, I know soccer. I'll drag you along. Don't you worry. You just tell me who's on the field and I'll handle all the X's and O's. And they ended up having a nice little run. And Terry was his color analyst during that time when they were doing soccer. This would have been early 80s, 81, 82, 83, 84, in that window right there.
Okay.
And it was that's when I first met Terry at that time too. And Terry and of course my dad were just awesome friends.
Yeah. He sent me a clip of one of those games, the whole, like a full game. I was on YouTube or something like that. But the intro and there's Terry and Bob,
Yeah, man.
Like it's, any big time event, but it was the Atlanta pro soccer,
Yeah, the Atlanta Chiefs. They were the Atlanta Chiefs, the North American Soccer League.
That's it. Well, real quick before I let you go, man, I got it. Just real quick, your thoughts on, you were there for the Braves title run in '95.
Yeah.
So just working for the Braves at that point, man. What was that like?
I tell people it was probably the highlight of my career. If you want to, now I was working at the time for Sports South, and we had Wednesdays and Sundays. TBS had almost every other game, but the national package, ESPN had Wednesdays, and I think NBC or somebody had Sundays. So Turner, as a national network, couldn't do those games. So we got to do a couple games a week, traveled with the team, did the Wednesday games, and that, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. I mean, they're just the dudes, Andrew Jones, Chipper, all the greats. And they were awesome to work with, and doing the pregame, postgame type shows. And man, we'd roll into town. We'd go from, say we were in Chicago and we're going to St. Louis, and we get there at 2:00 in the morning, and it would be like the Rolling Stones were coming to town at that time. I mean, there were 500 people outside the hotel wanting pictures and autographs, and it was just a crazy time. Atlanta was going crazy. I didn't appreciate it as much when I was in the middle of it, but now that I look back and at that time, it was one of the great. I did it 95 to 2002 or something. I can't remember the years.
Wow.
And it was their best period in the history of the Braves, and it was just awesome. And I had to make a choice. They said, listen, we're going to start at the Fox Sports Net was like, listen, we're doing more play-by-play. You can either stay with the pregame shows, the Hawks and the Braves, or you can move into play-by-play if that's where you want to go, but you can't do both. There's just not enough time, and we need you to pick one. I picked play-by-play. And while there are some things I regretted, overall, I would not change a thing. It's worked out. Here I am, 28 years doing SEC football, 30 years SEC basketball. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I think I made the right choice.
Yeah. So your first year was 95. As soon as you start, that's when they win the World Series.
Yeah. Well, okay. I did a couple of, I filled in for a guy like in 94 or something. And then we switched things around. And that's the first time I was like the full-time host was that 95 season, and got to travel with them. And it was I'm like, this is unbelievable. And listen, I'm sitting in the dugout during the game, like literally next to Bobby Cox and Pat Corrales and Leo Mazzoni. I'm like shoulder to shoulder with these guys.
Just rocking with Leo. Just rocking with him.
Well, Leo's over in the bench area, but like Bobby would stand over there, and Pat Corrales, and I was listening to him talk ball all the time.
Man.
I mean, it was crazy. And again, at the time, I'm not thinking much of it. I'm just doing a job. But now I look back and I'm like, who in there? I could have, like who as just a casual dude, who gets to do that?
Yeah.
On one of the greatest runs in sports history.
Yeah. And you got to see like America's team for real. Like you said, every place y'all landed there, they were. I mean, it was really America's team. And every stop across the country, everybody wanted to see the Braves.
Rafael Furcal, Andres Galarraga was in there, Javi Lopez. I mean, it was just nuts. Now, John Rocker was part of that team too. Now he stirred it up a little bit. Did have that to deal with.
Never a dull moment, man.
Never a dull moment.
But Dave, man, I appreciate it. I know you got to run. I know you got a busy weekend ahead, but I appreciate you carving out some time to hop on here. And at some point, love to have you back again when it works for your schedule and chop it up again. But this was so much fun, and you hopping on here with somebody you have no clue who it is, and you still kind enough to do it. So
any friend of Terry Hansen's a friend of mine. Don't you forget that, Vinny.
I appreciate it, sir.
Enjoyed it, man. Thank you for having me on.
I'll be listening. I'll be watching y'all Saturday too. Going to a little get together with a bunch of Tennessee fans out, but we'll be watching Tennessee and Mississippi State.
All right, get my back now. Don't let them start saying bad things about me now.
I got you.
All right,
I got you.
We're talking about. I love you, Vinny. Thank you, man.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you, Dave. Dave Neal, Emmy-winning broadcaster, gonna be on the call for Mississippi State and Tennessee. Of course, I'm gonna be pulling for the Cowbells in that one. And honestly, I think that could be a little tricky game for Tennessee. All the nerds and analytics people that check the stats, you look at Heupel's numbers when they're at home in Neyland Stadium as opposed to, the way they perform on the road. The offense isn't as explosive, not as dynamic for the most part. Now, unfortunately for us as Kentucky fans, we've seen them come to Kroger Field and be up, basically 14-0 before we can, sit down and get our popcorn and beer opened. And we know that's how it can be. But overall, their numbers aren't as impressive away from Neyland Stadium as they are when they're at home. So they're going on the road to Starkville. And look, I don't know if it's upset alert for everybody else, but I'm thinking it could be. Mississippi State is 4-0. They're much improved. They were down at the bottom. Nobody cared anything about them, just like Kentucky. Kentucky picked 15th or wherever in the conference. Mississippi State down there, 16th. And they've beaten Arizona State, who went to the playoffs last year. They're 4-0. And I'm just saying it's going to be a little bit, I think, more difficult for Tennessee down there than people think. I got Terry TB Brown back, man. The technical difficulty.
Yeah, you were killing it with Dave Neal. Glad he was able to come on. Sorry I had to step away. Technical difficulties and then technical difficulties with my health, but I'm back and ready to rock and roll.
Oh yeah, man. Glad you definitely got to get you feeling better. I hope you're feeling better for sure, man.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We'll get Dave back on again when his schedule permits, and in between him, he's going to Starkville for the game this weekend. But thanks to him, because he said off the jump that Wednesdays were tricky for him, but he still was able to, carve out a half hour to hop on here and chop it up with us. So we'll get him on again sometime and talk.
That was awesome. But I heard you talking about hopefully Tennessee loses. And, was it last week? 2 weeks ago, we were at Iowa City for the Iowa game. Last week? 2 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time. Anyway.
Our UMass. Was that?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Rutgers last Friday. Anyway.
Did they lose that?
No, they won. No, they beat Rutgers 38-24.
Okay.
So I was actually putting some points on the board this year.
They
got Indiana this weekend, who just took Illinois to the woodshed. This past week. But I was telling you, we were at this nice tailgating thing prior to the Iowa game, and it was Georgia, Tennessee. And my lovely wife. The thing is, comedian Jay Moore, who is now with Jeannie Buss. Yeah, crazy, right? But years ago.
Oh, like with Jeannie, like dating Jeannie. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you meant like working with Jeannie. No, he's with Jeannie.
No,
okay.
With Jeannie as
okay.
But he was married before, and he had a comedy special, and he was basically saying, when people get married, everybody thinks about all the stuff you gotta like the same things. He said, oh no, the joy of marriage is when you hate the same things. He said his wife at the time was watching House Hunters. And he said he went in to get something, and she's watching House Hunters, and he just watched for a few minutes. He's like, I hate these people. And she said, I hate these people too. Come sit. And so I say that to say we're getting our drinks and stuff at this tailgating thing, and it's Georgia, Tennessee, and my wife, who's got no connection to the SEC whatever, says, well, Tennessee has to lose.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So she's and that's what it's all about. Like, I was indifferent to the NL Central hate, much like the NFC hate. Everybody hate everybody. I was indifferent to the Cardinals and the Brewers. Not so much the Reds, but kind of indifferent. But she's like, oh no, we hate those teams. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm with it. Right? I said, but if you're going to get on this Niners trade, when we play the Cowboys, you have to hate the Cowboys. She said, bet. But we're there, and it's Georgia, Tennessee, and Tennessee's up early, and we're watching. I'm like, Tennessee's got to lose. And she's like, that's right, Tennessee has to lose. And we're at the Iowa game, checking the scores. Tennessee lost. Awesome. So sometimes hating the same things will sometimes bring you together.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's watch this show. I hate these people. You hate these people. Let's watch this and get mad at this TV show. I'm all about it. It's all about hating the same things. The couple that hates together stays together.
Hey,
especially sports hate.
I get it.
Because she'll let me know because our whole courtship and everything was on social media, so there's a lot of intertwining. A lot of Cubs fans follow me, I follow them. A lot of Kentucky fans follow her. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But she'll be the first one to point out if Louisville loses at something.
She is on it. She is.
You know,
That's
Louisville lost to blah 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 blah. I said, and what? She'll be like, in men's soccer. I'm like, awesome, awesome. I want them to lose everything,
that's right.
right?
She got it. She got it.
Because that's what a sports rivalry is, right? Sports hate is okay. I ain't talking about real life hate and all this kind of stuff. I'm talking about sports hate. I am not one of those people. Well, when they're not playing my team, no, I want them to lose all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it helps our RPI. I don't care. I do not care.
That's right. That's
And then I end up with real Sophie's choices when it's like Duke and Louisville playing.
yeah.
Man, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Yeah. It's like
yo,
it's like 49 to Steelers. Yeah. Ooh.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want. That's a tough one.
I remember it was
Where's Duke?
Duke, Tennessee when Bruce Pearl was there. Got him. They met the tournament, and I
We
was
got to
like,
talk about Bruce Pearl too.
BP out.
Yeah, man, these coaches leaving 2 weeks before the season to try to hamstring these universities, it's a bad look. The beautiful thing of my wife not being involved in too much in college sports, really just focusing on Iowa, which is its own unique thing, right? Is I get to tell her all these stories of college coaches, and how Hugh Freeze went from one school to the other. Like I get to share that information with her. I get to give her the timeline of Bobby Petrino, right? I get to point out at one time Texas A&M had Petrino on staff, the dude that killed somebody at Maryland. Like it's great. It's great to all this kind of stuff. So I know the NCAA is crooked. Like we've all come to that point. But really and truly, when you look at it, most of the teams that got the harshest penalties were just flagrant with it, right? People need to remember SMU. That was the second time they got caught playing players, right?
Yeah.
Miami football got hit because they literally could not stop criming, right? Tark the Shark got in trouble, if you remember, because they had that booster. There was a friend of the program that got hit with a bunch of charges, and they were like, we don't know who this guy is. And then there was a picture in the Las Vegas paper of this booster with Larry Johnson and Moses Scurry and Anderson Hunt. Like, right? And I say that to talk about Bruce Pearl, right? You know what happened when he was at Iowa, right? He tried to rat out on Illinois. That's why he got sent to Wisconsin.
Southwest Indiana or
whatever.
Yeah.
And then he gets a shot at Tennessee because Tennessee is looking for any kind of relevance in men's hoops. They still looking for a Final Four.
Yeah.
They still like Moses walking through, trying to find the promised land, right? So, but what happens with the Aaron Kraft cookout thing? Is it a dumb rule? Was it a dumb rule that you can't have kids at the house and all this kind of stuff? Absolutely. But when the NCAA says, hey, did you do this? You can't say, no, we didn't do it, and try to get other people to lie for you. And then what happens? A picture pops up. Right?
Yep.
And it's a guys to go situation.
Yeah.
So for all the negative stuff that the NCAA does, people are flagrant. That's why, quiet as it's kept, Louisville fans really want that 2013 banner back up. Right?
Yeah.
You've seen it on Twitter. What they won't tell you is they were on probation for recruiting violations when the stripper scandal happened. It was the second time they got caught. They don't talk about that. They were already on probation for violations.
True.
Right? They don't talk about that. They just like, well, everybody else, y'all got caught for the second time. It's when you're flagrant, you get hit.
Right.
That's what happens. Like Kentucky, you can't send cash in a Emory envelope. You put cash in the mail. That's why they have to hit the flagrant ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
It's when you go that far across the line, then they gotta you
Right.
leaving no choice.
Right. Then you play it up in their face, right? Because I mean that's the thing. So Bruce Pearl, heck of a coach. I wouldn't send my kid to play for him. Um, I I don't know. I ain't gonna step into it too much. So it's just ridiculous that he's like, here, my son can coach, and that dude's resume, I wouldn't let him coach a YMCA team. It's
Yes.
little kids, and this is what kills me with that. Oh, he's a coach's son. What's that mean? Like, was he sitting at all the practices? Was he look like Vinny? My dad was assistant chief of police.
Yeah.
Had police degrees coming out the wazoo. I can't walk to the Des Moines Police Department and be like, y'all need to make me chief because I watch my dad. That's dumb as hell. Like, what kind of sense does that make? Right? The nepotism that works are the ones where the father the father, generally speaking, the father makes the son work his way up. Kyle Shanahan started like shagging balls at practice and worked his way up in the film room, right? That's why he's been to a couple of Super Bowls, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of nepotism, coaches said, because yeah, he put in work to get there. But this dude walking off the street, now granted, it's Auburn, so who cares? But like, what kind of sense does that make? He's the coach's son. That's not how we do stuff here.
Our guy, Oscar Combs, you founder of the Cat's Paws, friend of the show. He tweeted out yesterday thoughts: Bruce Pearl, Stephen Pearl, Bob Knight, Pat Knight, Eddie Sutton, Sean Sutton, Ray Meyer, Joey Meyer, Dick Bennett, Tony Bennett, Homer Drew, Scott Drew, Bryce Drew, Gene Bartow, Murray Bartow, John Thompson, and JT3. The Suns ain't really, Tony Bennett did well out of that group, but
he didn't walk into a. But the thing is,
yeah,
the older Bennett wasn't coaching at Virginia and said, "Here, take my son."
right.
Like, I don't know if Coach K's got a son, but he can't just be like, "Yeah, I'm giving it to him."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing here?
And Bob Knight said Pat is the reason fish eat their young or whatever.
Yes.
he
Yes. and just because you watch your parent do something doesn't mean you can do it.
yeah.
What? I don't understand that logic. Well, he watched his dad. Watch him do what? Like, what is it? Seriously, what kind of sense does that make?
Old Stephen Pearl, like you mentioned, Bruce, a good coach. Credit to Bruce. We used to beat Tennessee like a drum. Bruce got there and he started kind of flipping that. Got Tennessee good. Got to the point where Kentucky fans used to be like Rupp South when you walked in there. Then they started packaging tickets and raising it, and it got harder to get a ticket down here because he got them good and that whole kind of thing. So he still didn't get to a Final Four, but we wasn't just sweeping them every year like we used to as well. But they used to have in the summer, me and my buddy Ryan would go down there at Bearden High School. In the summer, they have what's called the Rocky Top League, where 3 days a week you got current Vols, some former Vols, like old school dudes, like Steve Hamer and Darren Nix and John Higgins, old dudes that would come play. Current Vols, Lofton would play. Some high school kids locally in the area. They have 6-8 teams, play leagues, 2-3 games a night, this team, that team. And the point of it is, this is when Bruce had, remember, like Tyler Smith and Wayne Chisholm and all them dudes from Tennessee. Well, Stephen was on there. Stephen was on those teams, of course, when he first got there. So they be playing. Stephen would be out there trying to guard Tyler Smith. This is a league pickup summer run. You have to try and take charges. Me and my buddy like, what is he doing? What is he out there doing? And that goober is now the head coach at Auburn. That's what I'm saying.
That's the lamest thing ever. I've seen that as a pickup games when I used to play all the time. Like, what are you doing? Like,
He's trying to
we're
Wojo out there in the summer run.
we're not. You don't get a change of possession on that. What are you doing, man? Either go for the block or get out the way. Like, what are you doing?
Play him straight up, dude, or something, man. You really trying to take a charge out here in this pickup run.
You try to give up your body in a pickup game, man.
Like, dude, that's
But good on Auburn.
Rocky Top League is also, I'll say that, I mean, Rocky Top League is also where I became thoroughly convinced. To think back, this is Bruce's early years. We were going through our Billy G years. There would be other Kentucky fans there too. I'm wearing my blue in there, and we all in the J. What's up, in the gym? You know, just acting on the Tennessee fans. This is where I was thoroughly convinced that Tennessee was not getting what they thought they were getting in one Scotty Hopson. Scotty Hopson they just beat us out to get him. At first, he was going to go to Mississippi State or whatever. And Kentucky won, and Tennessee got it. It's like, okay. So Scotty would play in the league runs too. Just see what they get. This is summertime. It ain't hardcore. It ain't complex defenses. And so I just be charting Scotty in my head. I'm like, okay, he's 0 for 1. He's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 3. Oh, he's 1 for 4. Oh, he's 2 for 7. At no point in this Rocky Top League game, Rocky Top League TV, you got 36-year-old Vols that, past their prime, current Vols. It's a mix. At no point did he show out. At no point did he dominate. To be a top flight dude, you would expect one of these nights, this is his night. Ain't nobody gonna be able to touch him. And it never happened. And so from that point on, I wasn't worried about Scotty Hopson at Tennessee. I said, this fool right top league, he done. I said, wait till they play real teams where they geared up to stop him. This guy, he ain't gonna be about nothing. So that's just a couple little nuggets from back in the day.
Yeah, taking charges in rec leagues. It's like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah, man.
Like, this ain't. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you giving up your body for the team, and we all gonna like, what is this? Is
really
pickup, bro?
Really out here trying to take a charge.
But good on Auburn, I guess. Whatever. It's just I'm not a big Bruce Pearl fan, and that just give it to my son. I'm not a fan of these coaches leaving teams kind of high and dry at this late hour because they want to set up a succession plan. I'd forgotten that Dean Smith basically did the same thing with Bill Guthridge. Now, Guthridge did go to the Final Four in '98, so with Brendan Haywood and those guys. So it
Barry switched his way to the Final Four.
Yeah, basically. That's a good 2-year stopgap, right? I mean, it's not bad, but I'm not a big fan of it. Like, had things continued in Kentucky, Cal just could have been like, here's Brad to take over, because it'd been like a hell no situation, right? Like, Rupp didn't give it to his boys. Like, we weren't going to get Sean Sutton. We were not going to have Saul Smith here. Like, that's not going to work here, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Richard Pitino wasn't walking through the door.
oh, man, we weren't going to get Richard Pitino in here because that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Well, he's a coach's son. Well, what the hell does that mean? Like,
I remember my dad, man, every time they were paying on Guthrie, he said, look at Bill. Bill looked like he about to go sleep over there sitting on the bench. And
he didn't do anything. He just sit there, up 20, down 20. Like, don't you want to say something? Like, I ain't about all the histrionics, but don't you want to do something?
Yeah, man. He's just killing time on a Tuesday night at 9:30 at night, man.
That was that weird year that Carolina just had the NC instead of North Carolina on their jerseys. Remember, Michigan had the big M on their jerseys. We did that for a year too, man. We had, or not for a year, but we had with just the UK on there. And I was like, that is a terrible look. I need words on my jerseys, please. Give me something.
Yeah. So it was just a phase. Everybody just, I don't know. They went through that little phase. Came out of it. So
I'm just hoping that this year we get some alternate uniforms.
Black, gray, silver. What?
or some throwbacks to the denim. Like we've got all these great jerseys from the '90s that, quiet as it's kept, we're coming up on 30 years
Yeah.
for some of these great uniforms. Bring them back. Like we rock the '93s. Like
Yeah.
bring back the icicles. Bring back the zigzags. You know I'm rocking them thanks to 1999. I got on the '93 ones right now. So bring those back, man.
Shout out to 19.9. Love to promote y'all if y'all want to holler at us. 19.9.
But I'm all about that. So let's do that with our uniforms.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we will see more of that now. We
I'm,
said we saw the 93s. I think the door is open to all of that now coming back. You got a guy that actually wore them when he played here. So I think he's about to.
I got my number 41 upstairs with the zigzags. Now it's a little snug because I'm not a medium anymore, but I'll rock it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Corey Price, I think we're 40 days away. But, he just tweeted out yesterday 41 days he had Pope out there. So
Yeah, 42 had McGlure, my favorite moment. Jim, what is he doing? What is he doing? Had Wojo in the rack. That was awesome, man. Because in my head, when that happened, I was like, if that's all we get out of this game, great. Because that was great to see Wojo in the rack.
yeah.
But then we won it.
Yeah. And Wayne Turner just obliterated over and over.
Yeah, I saw Andre Miller from Utah was on some podcast talking. I need to check it out because I know he hates to see Kentucky coming. Him and Keith Van Horn. Was it 5 times out of 7 years
Yeah. Yeah.
putting them
Just
out of the tournament way back in the
mhm,
'90s? That was awesome.
blow him out. I mean, it was a close game in the title game, but they used to run Utah, man.
Yeah,
Every single
yeah.
time. And I like though.
Majerus?
Jared. I like big
Yeah.
funny. Send him home.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, had to. That
There you
better.
go. Yeah, that's better. I can hear you now. Well, you just faded away again.
Hello, Mike. Let's see if we can stay on.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, always like technical difficulties all
But
over the place.
but the thing about Majerus, again, we talk about it. Coaches used to have personality, rather than now the personality is just being an uptight jackass, right? Everybody's screaming on the sidelines. But coaches used to have personalities, right? Like it used to be a thing. And I think we're getting away from that. You used to
Yeah.
have
Mm-hmm.
Lou Carnesecca with the sweaters, and John Thompson with the towel, and Tark the Shark chewing on his towel, and different things like that. But the characters are gone.
Yeah. They don't. They don't want to let that personality.
Because outside of Dan Hurley being a crazy person, what personality is in their college basketball? I think Pope's getting there, but I think he's more of a connecting to the fan base kind of personality. He's not so much on the court as of yet, right? So we're missing those guys.
Rick Pitino is like 70-some years old, so he don't.
Yeah,
don't
he
have
ain't yelling
the
like
same-
he used to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
don't have the
can't
same
do like he
steam.
used to. And and even the guys that are winning. I mean, Florida.
Yeah.
What's their coach even? I don't even know what he sounds like.
Yeah, Ty Golden. He need to stay off Instagram. That's why he ain't.
Yeah, well, that gets us all in trouble. But speaking of basketball, the WNBA playoffs are going on. They got down to their final four. Minnesota and Phoenix tied at 1 game each, and the Fever and the Aces tied at 1 game each. So pretty interesting stuff. Asia Wilson won her 4th MVP.
That's crazy.
Co-defensive player of the year with Alana Smith. And
How long she been in the league? That is wild. That
I don't
she,
know.
she was just at South Carolina. Now she a 4-time MVP. That's
Yeah, and it was deserved because the Aces, they got blown out by somebody. Then they won 17 straight games, including the playoffs. So I thought it was deserved, but I'm still not an Aces fan.
Mm.
They should be good because they got the four-time MVP plus three other Olympians on the squad. So be for real, they're not underdogs. Uh, but the Fever scrapping by, they're on their fourth point guard. Believe it or not. So just them getting to this point and stealing game one and the semifinals is pretty good mark for them.
So,
Kelsey Mitchell balling out.
so it's Mercury and Lynx and Fever and Aces. That's Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do East and West, right? It's just
No, it's
best
just
record or whatever seeding.
it's just top eight, and then they go from there. So yeah,
Okay, because I saw, because who knocked New York out, like Phoenix or something?
Phoenix did, man.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was
And
like,
New
what
York
is
fired their
happening?
coach a year after winning the championship.
Got
Like
that,
11 months after winning the championship, she's gone. And New
got
York had some
that,
injuries. Stewie was out for a long time. Jonquel Jones is out for a long time.
get that.
Sabrina Ionescu's got some nice shoes, and she can shoot the three.
Yes.
So I'm going to be very nice when I say that. Not a lot else.
Ooh.
Yeah, they Phoenix went at her defensively. They just put her in pick and rolls, and it was like, yeah,
Mm. So she got that Mike Malone, Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel treatment. That's what Sandy got.
yeah,
Like,
man.
thanks for the title. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's so I don't know if that's something moving forward, but I think it had a lot to do with Golden State being a expansion team and making the playoffs this year. I think it has.
That's what got her fired.
I just think that the leash is getting short, right? You know,
Wow.
it's a 13-team league. Top 8 teams make the playoffs, and it's getting more competitive.
Mm.
So I don't know what's going to happen. You got a lot of teams in disarray. Seattle got rid of their coach,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of stuff going on in Seattle. They had a lot of locker room stuff in Seattle.
Okay.
Surprisingly, Chicago's going to keep their coach.
And they a
Now,
mess too, aren't they? Ain't the Sky a mess?
but they've been a mess. Like I'm not the biggest Angel Reese fan, but I'm not going to put her foot to the fire. Like, she shouldn't have been calling out her teammates by name to the press. Let's be 100% about that. That's always wrong. But I read an article about this because, again, I'm trying to learn about the WNBA. And the Sky have not had a franchise player that wasn't like, get me out of here. Simone Augustus, Elena Deladon, Candace Parker, all like, yeah, get me out. Like, Parker came back and won, but the Sky are just a dumpster fire.
And she from Chicago too. Candace is. I mean,
Yeah.
suburbs.
But apparently their practice facility is nowhere close to the actual arena where they play. And I think people forget about that. Like, Chicago is a big city, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have your games here and your practice over here. Like, that doesn't work. And so when you talk about the economics of it, when you have players in the WNBA making $70,000 a year, right? That's decent if you're not a professional athlete. Because, and my wife and I were talking about this, these cities where they play are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, what can $75,000 get you in Chicago? Like,
Mm.
you need a place to live. You got to eat. Like, that ain't, like, and even Golden State out there in Oakland,
Yeah.
that's expensive. Atlanta is expensive, right? Phoenix is, New York is expensive. So you need to do a little bit better job. That's the thing in Atlanta too. They all over the place in Atlanta. You've been to Atlanta. Atlanta's big as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so but the Fever do a good job. Some of the other teams do a good job where they've got housing during the season for the players, like apartment complexes and that kind of stuff. And that's what they need, right? Because the stuff is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those things that you look at. You know, we talked about that with JR. When you look at, I can make $10 million for this team, $8 million for this team, but Florida doesn't have income tax, right? You got to start looking at that stuff. That's the problem with the Toronto Raptors, and I think that's what the Toronto franchise, the WNBA, is going to find, is the taxes are different because you got to pay Canadian and U.S. taxes, right? So that's all this stuff you have to keep in mind with these teams. But anyway, Chicago Sky, unserious. Unserious. So I don't blame Angel for wanting to get out, but you still can't call out your teammates by name.
Yeah.
Speaking of dumpster fire franchises, more keeps coming about the Clippers and everything going on with Kawhi Leonard. And buddy, I don't know why you want to give a billionaire the benefit of the doubt, but if he put 40 million in a company, and that company gave Kawhi 40 million for a no-show job, I'm not Columbo, I'm not Matlock, right? I'm not Perry Mason, I'm not Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, it looks a little suspicious.
Yeah, boy.
Especially when it comes out with Kawhi's Uncle Dennis, who is my favorite hanger-on family member ever. He's lapped LeVar Ball. He's lapped all these people. He's my favorite sports family person ever. Like, he wanted, ownership stake. Like, what? And the funny thing is, Kawhi don't even play but 50 games a year.
It don't matter. Get all you can get, Unc. Get all you can get.
But, hey, again, this is as good as it's been for the Clippers.
And this is gonna send them back down to where they used to be right here. It's all, brand new stadium, gonna be empty, and you're gonna be winning 26 games because it's all collapsing now.
Yeah, man. Good luck to him.
Yeah, Steve Ballmer had to sell the team in a little bit, and it's just hemorrhaging money. And
that Shea trade is looking way bad.
ooh.
Way bad.
Mm.
It seemed bad at the time.
Yeah.
Paul George hit a couple of shots in the first couple of rounds when he was at Indy, and he started calling himself Playoff P. I think he hit a couple of shots. He hit like a buzzer beater in Game 2 of a series where LeBron the Cavs won 4 games to 1 or something like that. Called himself Playoff P. He'd been eating off that.
Yeah.
Can you think of a playoff moment of Paul George that wasn't Dame Lillard putting a shot in his eye? That wasn't him in the bubble hitting the side of the backboard?
No.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. The greats have playoff moments.
Yeah. Man. That's rough. That's rough. Yeah.
And I'll have you know, I invoked your 95 Rockets because Asia got her 4th MVP the day of Game 1 against the Fever. And then Kelsey Mitchell came out and scored 35 points to secure the win. And I said, this is reminiscent of Kim Olajuwon watching David Robinson get that MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Smith tells the story the best. He's like, we're sitting there and the lights dim, and I looked at Dream, and Dream said, no worries, and then went out and 40-point triple-double or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm all give out the MVP, make that other person earn it.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, Karl Malone won the MVP that year, and they presented like Game 1 of the finals,
Mm-hmm.
and Michael Jordan said, all right, cool.
Yep.
Cool. Because that's the only thing that can happen when you present the MVP like that.
Yo.
If the MVP is going to get it done, or the opposing team's going to be like, all right.
Exactly. That's the only two ways that can go.
Right. You ain't going to get a mediocre game. Either he's going to earn it, or the other team's going to be like, this is my guy. He should have won it.
That's it.
Or you're like Dirk to get swept out of the first round. They give it to you in a meeting room at American Airlines Arena.
Yeah, that's true, too. Oh, thank you, Michelle. At a CA dinner in Milwaukee. Just put the earbuds in. Listen to us at dinner. Appreciate you, Michelle. And
Appreciate you.
go back and listen to Dave Neal. He was really good. We have to get him back on again. Oh, then she stabs me in the heart with the bear down because the Bears did whatever they wanted to the Cowboys on Sunday. Yep. 31-14. Y'all got the win, Michelle. You was tweeting at me a little bit before the game and during the game, and yep. Yeah, y'all did it. Our defense is we the Alice Cowboys because there was no defense at all Sunday. They ran that flea flicker the slowest developing flea flicker I've ever seen in the history of the world. The running back tossed, it was literally like a fly ball back to Caleb Williams. He had to camp out under it and like wave off the center fielder and say, I got it. Caught it, still no pressure, and still threw a 65-yard touchdown to a wide open receiver. Because Matt Eberflus used to coach the Bears. This was his return to Chicago, and well,
Good for Chicago, I guess. I don't know.
yeah,
Good for them. Look, again, I'll take 3-0 for my Niners
yeah, threw it.
because a lot of teams are not 3-0. A lot of teams have way more questions than answers at this point. Starting with Baltimore, starting to look a little funny. Now look, I like Lamar. Of the last 20 years, he's probably my favorite U of L athlete. And that's a short list. But he's fantastic. Don't get it twisted. He's going to the Hall of Fame. However, in big moments, I'm going to need some more razzle dazzle. You got to get it done. And like we were talking about, again, there's people that get in the Hall of Fame, like we've talked about before. And then there's layers to that. There's a pyramid to that, right? Like Eli Manning will go in the Hall of Fame, but he's not sitting with Brady, Unitas, and Montana, right? Like that's a different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar gonna be the same kind of way, man. Like what postseason highlight does he have?
Yeah, he still got it.
At least Eli has those moments, right? He's got the helmet catch. He does have the, beating the undefeated Patriots. He's got that.
Yeah.
Hell, Joe Flacco's got that deep bomb against Denver that helped them get to Lamar needs that.
Yeah.
Of course, Mahomes has that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen, even though he gets one up by Patrick Mahomes, but Josh Allen has that moment. Like, that game a couple years ago in an AFC Championship game. He left the game with the lead, right?
Yeah.
On some great plays of his own. Lamar got to get it done, man, or it's going to be, you got to get to a conference championship game at least.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That seems to be the barrier for a lot of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You got to at least get to the conference championship game, right?
Yeah, and it's all gonna come on you. And he's had moments, turnovers, this, that, and other. Mark Andrews' drop last year was a killer. And that's now Derrick Henry fumbling. They probably ought to be 3-0 or at least 2-1. And so it's stuff happening. But sometimes you gotta put a cape on and rise above that stuff as well.
I love this from Bomani. Is Lamar Jackson the reason that they lost? No. But at some point, he has to be the reason they win.
Yeah.
At some point, there's got to be a moment where he gets it done.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter, Troy Aikman, his numbers, kind of pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
But in the big moments, he put the ball where it needed to go.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know in some NFC Championship games.
Oh.
Right? The muddy Alvin Harper coming down.
Alvin Hart, baby.
Between a couple of 49. That's the thing is with football, there's numbers, but it's more than just numbers. Like I keep talking about, you can look at the all-time passing yardage list, and Montana and Johnny Unitas are like 19 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And right above them is Kerry Collins and somebody else. It's so numbers don't tell the whole story in football.
Yo.
Right? It's okay, if you had to put your life on the line, or put your nest egg on the line, would you take Kerry Collins or Joe Montana?
Yeah. No brainer.
Right? Matthew Stafford going to have a lot of yards, but would you take Matthew Stafford over those guys? Right? That's what you start talking about when it gets to that point. So I want Lamar to do well, but because the AFC is wide open, because the Chiefs look terrible.
Yeah. Yep. It's running out of gas. And that division, Denver's in, say what you want about Harbaugh, he wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and now he's had talent. Justin Herbert's been a talented dude. Now you got Harbaugh out there just kind of doing a little tweaking and this and that and the other, and they look, sound like Chris Berman. They, they look good. Keep Herbert healthy, and Denver and Kansas City, they've been tired of. I mean, Denver and San Diego, they've been sick of losing to Kansas City all these years,
yeah,
and it's a little balance of power is shifting.
yeah. And so, what are the Chiefs going to do? Because
They're not gonna get any younger. I mean, Travis Kelsey looking a little old. He is old. All these deep runs, you say it every year. It plays a toll. You're playing in January. Everybody else is already not even playing the Pro Bowl. They on vacation. You know.
it it doesn't sound like a lot when you say it's 2 to 3 more games, but it's like you go to a couple of Super Bowls, and now that's 6 more games that other people haven't played.
Yeah.
And it's that grinded out kind of stuff, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's tough because I
Yeah.
know last year they got blown out, but against my
Mm-hmm.
Niners,
Yeah.
it came down to the damn wire. Like
Mm-hmm.
so it's different kind of wear and tear when you calculate that out. You don't get that extra recovery time. You miss a month or more of recovery time.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And so it
That's
it,
it.
it, add, it adds up. So the AFC is wide open. I don't know how. I don't. I think it's pretty wide open across the board. I'm still not
Mm-hmm.
convinced Philadelphia is the cream of the crop. I know they got
Yeah.
good defense, but
Mm-hmm.
so from what I've seen, there's no team that I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yep. Nobody's separating.
yeah. And with my Niners again, 3-0. Bosa's out for the year with his ACL.
Mm,
Kittle's on the injured list. Purdy's on the injured list. Whatever, man. Next man up. Come on, Mac Jones.
absolutely. Looks like Kentucky volleyball will be tied 23-23 first set with South Carolina. Yeah. They were up 20-13. Cats on a little 10-3 run. Start off a little sluggish, but look like they're getting it together and waking up. Home game against the Gamecocks. This is playing them in volleyball right now, playing them in football this weekend. Hopefully we can be up 2-0 on Katie Drzinski tonight and Saturday. We didn't even have her on because she's been beating us so much. We didn't even get her on this time because she got our number right now.
Yeah, once we get things back around, we'll figure it out.
I'm with you. Like how you think. Cats up 24-23. Set point in the first set on South Carolina. So hopefully they can just go ahead and keep doing what they're doing. Serving for the set right now. I got to get up there and look like 24-24. I got to get up there for a volleyball match in the new historic Memorial Coliseum. Got to get up there and check them out.
Yeah, I've been to a few volleyball games. Took the girls when Cass Brown was playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I don't know if your boys did this, but my girls love to point out when somebody had parents like they did. So
Mm,
always a big thing. Hey, parents just
absolutely.
like you.
That's right. That's right.
And my girls had a crush on Blake Griffin
Okay.
because his mother was a redhead. So
Uh-huh.
my ex-wife was a redhead. So they were like, oh, so yeah, they did that for a little bit, just to just say, hey, there's other people that have parents like yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as rare as it used to be, or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that.
That's right. That's
But
right.
yeah,
Well, good stuff, man. Glad you're feeling better and keep on feeling better for
yeah,
sure.
man.
And
I got to give myself 4 shots a day, and that's not fun.
mm, 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 mm. So yeah, we definitely thinking about you. Appreciate you hopping on and glad you felt better to do that. Thanks to you as always. Thanks to Dave Neal. Had to get him back on here. That was a lot of fun. Just talking all broadcaster type stuff with him, and we even talked a little bit about Dominique getting traded, and he it hit him the same way it hit me. So yeah, he's the Atlanta guy. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully, talking about a win against those Gamecocks in volleyball and in football. Another week closer to basketball starting. Uh, See if your Niners are 4-0. Are they off this week? Yeah.
No, I didn't know who they had off the top of my
Okay.
head.
Well, if they keep it up, they'll find a way to get out another win. Micah Parsons comes back to Dallas Sunday night, so he's gonna try to have 12 sacks by himself. So, and especially they just lost to Cleveland too. That's, I mean, they I don't know if I can't say the Packers was looking ahead to this. Micah might have been, but I don't feel good about this Sunday against Green Bay. But we're going to see what happens Sunday night. Congratulations again to Michelle's Bears. Appreciate everybody that takes time to watch and listen.
Absolutely.
And BS3 Network, thanks to Ben Sutter for letting us be on. We'll hop on off of here. Go Cats. Have a good weekend. See everybody later on.